Hey everyone! Sorry it's been so long since I made a video between the holidays, and then Danko was kind enough to come here over the holiday season and give me a nice nasty little cold. Took me a little bit to get over. We have a fun video today though. We're going to be making a fire gel. Excuse me, Night. Sorry this is a mess back here, but it's a lot of chemistry now. It's time to clean it up. Okay, so little fire gel. This is going to be used for like starting fires at camping or survival fires, or you can even even do camp stoves like this one here. Of course, I think the wording's backwards, but so we're going to show you how to make that. And there's 4 ingredients to do it, which is probably stuff you actually have at home or stuff you can easily get at home. So the first thing is actually eggshells and vinegar, and those, which is why I have a bottle of it back there. Looks like bleach. That's actually vinegar. So you can actually turn eggshells into calcium acetate, which can also be used to make acetate, but I'm not going to go through that process in any of these videos because I really have no need for acetate, so we're not going to do that. But then after that, you just need a little bit of distilled water. I might have used a little bit too much when trying to make these. But you just need a little bit of distilled water and then some isopropyl alcohol. So we're going to have a lot of fun with that one. It was days in the making to actually make this stuff. I also do want to let you guys know I started physical therapy. We finally found out some reason why my legs were going numb. It turns out that it's not anything on my spine that's sorry, new mouthpiece is bugging me. It's not anything in my spine that's pressing on my nerves. It's actually the piriformis muscle, which is a little triangle muscle right there in the butt. And so that's really inflamed, and that's pushing on the nerves. So when I'm standing up for too long, or it gets in a really bad spot, or starts to get a little worked up, basically, it starts to swell up a little bit. It sounds really bad since we're talking about the butt, but you know, if the muscle starts to kind of inflame a little bit, and then it'll start pushing on the nerves, which is why I have a lot of issues when I'm walking and stuff. So I started some physical therapy, and we're doing it in a pool, which not really a pool. It's an above ground pool, but it's more like a big water chamber with a treadmill in it. So I get to do some walking, I get to do some exercising, and kind of work out some muscles, which is good because I need to get my body working again. And then tomorrow, I'm also going to be going down to Midco and trying to see about getting a membership there, so that I can also start getting in more exercise on that in ways where my leg's not going to go numb and stuff like that. And also help work out the problems with my knee, which is my ACL. So we're going to get that going, and hopefully I'll be able to do more videos. We are going to also be doing some sledding and some ice skating, so that should be a fun upcoming video as well. As you can tell, my voice is still a little crackly. I can blame Danko for that. I mean, to have the company for Christmas was totally worth it. So things are back up and going. I didn't get tested myself, so it's time to get back to living. So I can only assume. Let's show you how to make some survival. It was a really survival because that's really mean cold. But some fire gel. And I know everyone experiences it differently. Fire. I can still smell. Unfortunately, I can still smell. Jelly, and I say unfortunately because I have 2 Anyways, so we're gonna get started on that. And this one's gonna be a little bit of chemistry. Still know when that needs to be changed. So that should also be kind of interesting. I saw my sense of taste. That was my first time ever going to do something chemistry-wise. So it was just cold for me. But the fact that I didn't mess it up too bad is actually pretty awesome. I'm not going to say it was. I'm not going to say it wasn't because I never got tested myself.
Alright, let's get started. So here what I did was I took my eggshells and I mixed them with the vinegar. I tried to go with a 10%, but all I could come up with was a 6% solution, which worked. It just had more to evaporate. It does foam like crazy. I really fast forwarded the crap out of this, but it foams up, so you have to slowly do it and all that other fun stuff. And then I let it sit overnight. Here I used a thick filter to kind of get the big particulates out. And so you can see that's a pretty big one. And then I moved to this fine filter, which took a lot longer and was a slow drip. So I had my stirrer going while it was doing that, and it took a long time because I had 2 things worth to do because I did way too much in this batch. And then I turned on the heat and I let it go. And I have it stirring and just heating, and this was just day 2. After I let it sit overnight, that's when I did the filtering. And alright, so I let this sit overnight because I didn't want to leave it on the heat overnight. Oh, and it came like a little cloudy thing underneath. You can kind of see that some of it's starting to evaporate and it's starting to kind of thicken up a little bit. So I'm gonna leave this on the heat for the day. I have spent a good chunk of yesterday just filtering out the other stuff and pouring basically all 2 of those glasses into here, and it got up really high at one point. So I mean, it's that much water itself has already been evaporated. So now I'm gonna work on right here. Once it gets to right about here, it should probably flash freeze, which means it'll suddenly go from being a liquid to a solid. So now I'm just going to leave it right here on the heat. It gets to about, I think I've recorded 166 degrees, which is enough to evaporate it off, but not high enough to really boil it off. So it's going to be like a low boil type of thing. So I'm just going to leave it like this for the majority of the day, and I'll come back when there's more of this gone. So right now it's at, looks like the 4, ow, jerk, at the 400 milliliters mark. Is that milliliters? Yes, 400 milliliters. So once we get it down to closer to 200 or 150 is when it should just go ahead and go from a liquid to a solid. So we're going to bring it down a little bit more, and I'll kind of keep coming back in and checking and showing the progress. And then throughout the day, it just kind of slowly boiled off. And I had the stirrer going the entire time to keep it in motion while it was overheating. And you can see it slowly starting to go down. So when you get towards the bottom is when it really started to speed up. The lower that line gets, the faster it started evaporating off. Alright, so you see how this is turning a little bit darker color? That is normal actually. It's because there's some impurities in this. But it is boiling down pretty good. It's at the 200 milliliter mark, and it was way up here earlier today. So I've actually boiled down, quite a bit since yesterday. It was way up there between all of them. So this should actually almost be to the point now where it's just going to flash freeze, where basically it goes from a liquid to a solid. So I have to watch it really close now, but thankfully I'm at my desk, and so I'm like right here and I can hear the tingling of the stir, because I have the magnetic stir thing and here going on. So you can actually see it stirring as it goes. So as soon as I stop paying that tinging sound, I'll know that it's gone to a solid, and I need to take it off the heat really, really fast. So we're just going to let that keep going, and it should be done in about an hour or so. It's almost done. It's actually, it's kind of hard to see. Okay. As you can see, it's actually hardly even liquid anymore. Most of it is a solid, but I do want to try to get more of that liquid out. I'm just trying to keep it from burning on the bottom here. Some of the impurities would, and it's kind of boiling. So occasionally I do kind of take a little thing and stir it to kind of just keep everything from settling on the bottom. And I know a plastic spoon is not the best, but it's what I have here. Yeah, I can feel it already starting to kind of take to the bottom. So this should be done very shortly. Alright, so I went ahead and took off the heat because there's still a little bit of moisture in it, but it's all dried up and nothing has burned to the bottom. So I say this is a good time to go ahead and take it out. And I'm just going to spread it across the plate to let it dry overnight. That is my magnet. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to need 2 hands for that, and I will come back tomorrow when it's all dried up and powdered back up. Okay, so it actually took longer, so I would recommend a dehydrator. But once it dried, I went ahead and powdered it in my trusty magic bullet. And then I'm going to go ahead and add it back to the beaker. That one was missing its seal, so it kind of made a mess. So now it's a nice fine powder. Did not taste good to inhale, I promise that. And then this next part, I added way too much distilled water. Maybe about half of what I added would have been good, because it kind of made it fall apart when it shouldn't have. So when I remade it, it actually stayed together properly. I shouldn't have added that last splash, or a lot less water. So maybe half of that, liquid-wise, would have been a better choice. So when you make this at home, use less distilled water, but make sure it is distilled water, because you don't want to add more impurities to this mixture as it is. Now we're going to use 91% isopropyl alcohol, because that is the highest percent you can get. And I think I used about 100 milliliters here. And this stuff does not dissolve in alcohol, so that's why you'll see it right now starting to already make those little chunky chunks. And that is going to be your fire gel. Because I had so many issues with it falling apart in the first batch, I didn't actually get to light any on fire, unfortunately, because I really wanted to freak my neighbors out. My porch on fire, but that didn't work. Now you can store this in glass or even a plastic bag